आगे की इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए इस केस को, इस पूरे मामले को सीबीआई के पास देने का रेलवे बोर्ड की तरफ से रिकमेंडेशन किया जा रहा है।
Hello, welcome to NewsCentre. I'm Parikshit Luthra. At least 275 people have died and over 900 injured in an accident that involved 3 trains, including the Coromandel Express. It is said to be one of the worst train accidents in India's recent history. More than 50 hours since the tragedy, passenger trains have resumed operations on the repaired tracks. The Railway Board has called for a CBI probe into the mishap. The board has said that a signalling interference has been identified as the main cause of the accident. It has also not ruled out the possibility of a sabotage. Let's listen in to Railway Minister Ashwi Vaishnav.
जो कुछ अब तक का एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव इंफॉर्मेशन मिली है, उस सबको ध्यान में रखते हुए आगे की इंक्वायरी के लिए, आगे के इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए इस केस को, इस पूरे मामले को सीबीआई के पास देने का रेलवे बोर्ड की तरफ से रिकमेंडेशन किया जा रहा है।
The most important development today is that the railway tracks in Bahanagar Bazaar, this is now restored. As you can see behind me, the trains have started plying. So the main concern which was there, more than 140 trains were cancelled. This route where this tragic incident took place, where this accident took place, this line is now restored and you can see that the train is plying. From morning, a lot of trains have passed by. So this is one thing which is very important development today. Along with that, the Commissioner of Railway Safety, he is actually his team and he is asking, he's interrogating various people from railways. That is also the inquiry part which is important. And also, this inquiry has been handed over to CBI. So CBI will initiate an FIR. But the thing is that the relay room, which is a very important aspect, that whether there is a human intervention or not in this case, that is the point which is important now.
All right, to take this forward, I'm now joined by Rakesh Chopra, former member of the Indian Railway Board. Mr. Chopra, thank you so much for joining us. Indeed, a terrible tragedy which is still unfolding for many of the families who had their loved ones on board that train. But give us a sense of what really went wrong. The minister has gone on record to say this, and the member of the Railway Board has also gone on record to say that there was a signalling issue, there was a change in electronic interlocking, which gave the green signal to the driver, to the locomotive driver, and he entered a wrong line. Give us a sense of how can this really happen? Is this result of some sort of maintenance issue? Is there some technical issue related to it? Is there a larger problem? What is the possibility of outside interference or sabotage?
Parikshit, it's a sad day, sad event, and still that sadness continues. My condolences to all the families there. Having said that, this is a serious accident. And the question that you have raised has been perplexing the people for the last 3 days. Now, what has happened of last is that there are 2 inquiries that have been ordered. One, that was the Commissioner of Railway Safety, and the other, the CBI. The CBI, again, has been proposed by the Ministry of Railways. Very apparently, it seems that the minister having been there and the chairman Railway Board also having been there and the general manager and everybody, they might have hit upon something which is otherwise unknown, which makes them think that this could be a criminal conspiracy. So the 2 inquiries are going to go on side by side. If I recollect correctly, the Indian Railway Act, in a way, it does permit that the 2 inquiries can go on side by side if there's a criminal case. But the Commissioner of Railway Safety's inquiry, to my mind, is very significant, because that inquiry is what is going to determine what was the cause that really happened. Now, it's very interesting. You know, the first point to be observed is that trains were coming at high speed. Both the directions, the trains were at full speed. Now, what is the procedure? The procedure is that there is an outer signal, then there's a home signal, and then there is a signal at the station. the drivers of the trains and the co-drivers, each engine has two drivers, a co-driver and a driver. From a long distance, they can virtually see these signals. I have traveled in the engine cabs myself, and it is actually called a footplate, and it's compulsory for the officers to be on the engines also. So, you can see the signal from a distance of almost about 2 kilometers. And the moment you see it is a green signal, the co-driver, first person to notice is the co-driver, that is the duty. He says, right. That means I've seen the signal, it is green, go ahead. The driver then looks at the signal, confirms it by saying right, and the speed continues. They go forward, they also see the home signal, and the same thing continues. Now, the possibilities are that signals are actually designed to have three colors: the green, the yellow, and the red. Red, of course, is a stoppage. Green is run through, that is, you can go at full speed. And yellow is, in case you're getting onto the loop line, then the home signal, it becomes yellow to let you know that, look, you're going to be moving at a slow speed, at a slower speed. And the reason for that is the turnouts. Turnouts is the points and crossings between two tracks over which the train, diverts from one track to another track. Those are designed for about 30 to 50 kmph or 60 kmph speeds. They cannot take a higher speed. In this case, what it seems from all the data that has come out is that the drivers did see the green signals at the three stages throughout. But when at last the driver reached, before entering the loop line, the train suddenly diverted into the loop, where there was already a train standing. Now, this cannot happen because the fail-safe system in the railways, the interlocking system is such that in case a track is occupied, it is shown as red, and thereafter the signal goes to red also. So this could not have happened. So the crux and the problem that has taken place is, how did this take place? Certainly, it could have been a glitch in the technology. There could have been some problem or failure with one of the relays or the track circuitry that is there, or somebody could have interfered. So both the thoughts are there, that if somebody did interfere, was it an outside thing and a sabotage? To my mind, sabotage should be one of the last things resorts to be actually considered, because the Commissioner of Railway Safety's inquiry is really going to bring out the full details. It's a detailed inquiry after questioning a lot of people.
Mr. Chopra, I'm going to request you to hold on. I'm going to request you to hold on for a moment. We've got Dinesh Trivedi, the former railway minister, on the phone line. Mr. Trivedi, when it comes to derailments, there have been hundreds of derailments over the last few years. The CAG report has been flagging concerns about many lapses in the railway system, which are leading to derailments, starting from issues with regard to the engineering department. For example, 422 derailments were attributable to the engineering department, 182 to the mechanical department. Number of accidents attributable to loco pilots was about 154, 275 to the operating department. At least 11 derailments took place because of issues related to signaling and telecom. Do you feel that successively we've not given enough attention when it comes to railway safety, or issues within the system concerning maintenance, concerning operations, coordinations, which are leading to these derailments?
Answer is absolutely no. And the second answer is, it has nothing at all to do with this present tragedy.
Right. You're saying the CAG report has nothing to do with the present tragedy.
Correct.
The signalling system, the government has issued a statement and has said that, yes, there will be a CBI inquiry that will take place simultaneously. But what do you now think, Mr. Trivedi, needs to be done in future? There is a lot of data on what are the issues, what are the reasons why derailments, collisions have taken place in the past. How do we learn from what has already happened with this incident also, and make sure that these incidents don't happen now?
I think the railway is a robust institution. It learns like we all do learn, like the Honorable Prime Minister himself mentioned that we will learn from this. And all the indication at the moment including what the Honorable Minister and the Railway Board themselves, they are very competent people. And if the Railway Board has thought fit to give this particular incident, accident, or sabotage to the CBI, so it means they know something much more than you and I know. And there has to be a good reason for that. The Railway is absolutely the most professional body you can find anywhere in the world.
I would also like to ask you about a recent report by the Parliamentary Committee on Railways, and this is a demands for grants report for 2023-2024, and they've spoken about the...
Not to waste your time, I will interrupt you. This report has nothing to do with this particular accident. It has nothing at all to do.
But Mr. Trivedi, just one issue that it has spoken about, that the Rashtriya Rail Sanraksha Kosh, which is the funding for critical safety measures, the report has said that it was intended to... Yeah.
I have gone through all these reports. All these reports I've gone through. 114,000 kilometers. Every year, 4,000 kilometers has to be renewed. I know everything of this sort. So all I'm trying to tell you, if they have not spent from this, see, there are two different things. One is renewal of the track, and the other is maintenance of the track. So if you do not renew a track, but if you maintain a track, it means the safety department has to approve every little functioning of the railway. And please understand, we are very, very fortunate to have Indian Railways. Have no doubt about it. But no system we saw in recent time, 737 MAX, the latest aircraft, had little glitch. So please understand, when you modernize,
but Mr. Trivedi, all the previous reports.
But sir, it has
just
nothing to do
one
with
small
this
thing, sir.
accident.
This report by the Parliamentary Committee has said that there has been a shortfall in expenditure on critical safety when it comes to the railways. This is what the report has flagged. But don't you feel that going forward, there should be more focus on safety?
Ask you to make a building in 10 months which will be 100 stories. You can't do it. You know, you can have funds, but you need time to spend those funds. So it is easy to say that you have not spent the fund, but you need time. Even if you want to have a track between Calcutta to Delhi, it needs time. You can have funds. Actually, in my time, there was paucity of funds. We did not have fund for safety also. And now this government has at least given 2.50 lakhs crore.
All right.
And that is for modernization. And believe me, each and every aspect. Today, the railway system is much more robust. And every day there is a learning process. I'm not telling that railways have learned everything. No. God forbid, tomorrow there could be some incident could be learning. Life itself is a learning process. Thank you.
Mr. Trivedi, we've run out of time, but thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Chopra, coming back to you, we had the former railway minister saying that previous reports of the Parliamentary Committee on the Rashtriya Rail Sanraksha Kosh, also the CAG report on derailments, have nothing to do with this case at hand. Would you agree with that analogy? I would also like to ask you, what do we now need to do in order to make sure that these incidents don't happen in future? What remedial steps need to be taken urgently?
See, in a way, I would agree with Mr. Trivedi. Certainly, there has been an increase in funds over the last decade. So, insofar as the funding is concerned, it has increased. At least in the Pink Book, that is the book which comes out of the Parliament and tells you about the fund allocations. There, the numbers are there. Whether actually the funds are coming from the coffers of the government and being given to the zonal railways through the Ministry of Railways, I don't have much knowledge about that. But I presume that that also is being done on demand of the zonal railways. If that be so, then the question that arises is, why have the zonal railways not been able to spend the money? Now, that is a question of management. You know, there has been a tremendous change in the management of the railway system. A lot of decentralization of powers and things like that have been done. I think probably the ministry would do well to have a real look at all these things. You know, there are a lot of funds being sanctioned.
Okay.
But the
Mr.
progress
Chopra,
is not
I've run out of time, but I want to ask you one quick question before we wrap this segment. Mr. Chopra, that is, should this inquiry by the Commissioner for Railway Safety have not been completed first before ordering a CBI inquiry? Is it fine to have these two inquiries go on simultaneously?
See, I would have thought that the Commissioner for Railway Safety's inquiry should have been completed first. And the minister did say that it is going to take a short time. The period for the preliminary report for the CRS's inquiry is 10 days and the final report 60 days. So we could have probably waited and then gone to the CBI. My view is that, and my reason is very simple, that if this undermines the Commissioner of Railway Safety's inquiry, what is going to happen is the very glitches, the very technical faults that might have taken place, which might really be technical, will be all overlooked. Let me tell you the last thing. Commissioner of Railway Safety's inquiries and the results that come out have been helping the railways to improve the safety systems. So let us not undermine that. That is what my view is, that yes, CBI inquiry could have been done, but probably the CRS's inquiry should have been given predominance, at least in the timelines.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chopra, for joining us. We're going to take a short break here on NewsCentre, but next, the Parliamentary Panel of Railways met just a few days back on rail safety. We speak with Sandeep Pathak, Rajya Sabha MP from the Aam Aadmi Party and a member of this committee after this break.
CNG is good, but to get something, you have to give up something. OMG! It's CNG! Big boot, big appeal, big reaction. OMG! It's the Altroz iCNG.
नई कार तुमने कार इंश्योरेंस खरीदा होगा आगो ऐप से नहीं
आपको नहीं तो
कोई बात नहीं मूर्ति गलतियां होती रहती हैं कोई जरूरत नहीं है चेक करने नहीं मूर्ति कोई फायदा नहीं मूर्ति कोई जरूरत नहीं
नई कार खरीदने से पहले आको चेक करें और 36,000 तक बचाएं।
बालकनी
सेम है,
ड्राइंग रूम
भी सेम है,
किचन एरिया
सेम है।
हमने लिए 90 लाख में, आपने लिए 80 लाख में।
ये सेम क्यों नहीं?
क्योंकि आपके और हमारे होम सर्च ऐप सेम नहीं है। जानिए प्राइस ट्रेंड्स और सही ट्रांजैक्शन प्राइसेस on 99acres.com। घर लेना हो या बेचना, 99 acres से ही पूछना।
I'm a chameleon. It's my job to change color. But your wealth manager, well, they shouldn't be copying me, you know. You know that. Choose Nuvama. We only do what's right for you and your money. Nuvama. Let's do it right.
अभी और कितने चक्कर लगाने पड़ेंगे सर जी?
आप इतनी सी बात क्यों नहीं समझते सर जी? आप हमारा ध्यान रखो, हम आपका ध्यान रखेंगे।
ओ।
9501 200 200 ये तो
एंटी करप्शन एक्शन लाइन।
मैडम जी आप बेकार में परेशान हो रहे हो। मैं कराता हूँ ना 2 दिन में आपका काम। आप तो बस चढ़ा देना, घर बैठे आ जाएगा आपका लाइसेंस। आपको ड्राइविंग टेस्ट की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। पक्का जी पक्का।
तो आपने एक नंबर लिखिए, जब बन जाएगा तो उस पे कॉल करिएगा 9501 200 एंटी करप्शन एक्शन लाइन।
अगर आपसे भी कोई रिश्वत मांगे तो कॉल करें 9501 200 200। एंटी करप्शन एक्शन लाइन से पिछले 1 साल में अब तक 300 से ज्यादा भ्रष्टाचारी गिरफ्तार हो चुके हैं। पंजाब में रिश्वत लेने वालों की अब खैर नहीं।
पंजाब के लोगों को ये संदेश देना चाहता हूँ, पंजाब को भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त बनाना हमारा वादा ही नहीं, गारंटी है।
Welcome back. You are watching NewsCentre. 275 people have lost their lives and over 900 are injured after a 3-way train collision in Odisha's Balasore. A parliamentary panel on railways met just a few days ago to discuss rail safety. I spoke with a member of this panel and Rajya Sabha MP from the Aam Aadmi Party, Sandeep Pathak. I began by asking him about the last meeting held on the 25th of May, and what the panel will do on rail safety going forward.
There was a meeting of Railway Committee, Standing Committee, and then Standing Committee, it was discussed about the safety measures, and there was a document circulated, and various safety measures were mentioned in that what all government has done. So I'm very sure the Standing Committee would now seriously look into it and would be issuing show cause notices. At least it is the prerogative of the chairman of the Standing Committee. As a member, we can request the chairman, and the entire committee would request for the same. But however, it's the prerogative of the chairman of the Standing Committee. But there are larger issues in this entire events, if I may raise it. So some of the points that the government has mentioned about the advanced signaling system, about the anti-collision devices, about the anti-derailment devices. These are some very critical and very important devices. If you don't have such devices in place on the trains or on the track, then you're not supposed to be running trains in today's time. I can understand a long time ago when you didn't have all the devices, when you didn't have money, then you're running without the devices can be logically explained. But in today's time, I'm really surprised that the priority of the government should be focused on the safety measures rather than expanding it, and rather than bringing in new things that are not related with the safety.
Right. We have also been seeing there are at least two reports now in public domain. One, a CAG report on derailments between 2017 to 2021. And this really mentions how issues related to maintenance, lack of monitoring system, counseling of stop, supervision of operations, lack of coordination between different departments may have caused a large number of derailments. It also speaks about signaling issues which have caused accidents, how the expenditure towards the Rashtriya Rail Sanraksha Kosh has not been met in successive years, and this reflects poorly on the railways, according to the parliamentary committee. What do you think and what do you feel about the approach of the Railway Ministry, the government, towards safety when it comes to the railways?
You're absolutely right. If you look at the CAG reports of 2022, you would see from 2017 to 2021, there have been about 1,400 derailments and about 2,000 accidents. These accidents and derailments, if you look at in carefully, they may be minor to moderate in terms of the magnitude, but all these indicates toward the failure of the system of preventing such incidents. Any smaller incident today can become a bigger incident. So if you look at it in terms of the frequency of such an incident, they are totally unacceptable, and it appears that the focus of the railway, or let me put it this way, the focus of the Modi government has not been on the safety, because it's been 9 years, and in 9 years, what have we done? I'll give you some example. So there is a device called anti-collision devices. This anti-collision devices is the most critical part of any train system across the country, across the globe. In our country also, we have adopted this because it's very critical. So the government has come up with a name called Kavach, which is basically anti-collision devices, which were introduced during Sri Mamata Banerjee's time as well. So out of the 65,000 kilometers of rail network, only 1,400 kilometers were covered through this anti-collision devices, which is less than 2% of the total network, which indicate that in 9 years, if we cover only less than 2%, then to cover the 100%, it would take more than 400 years, more than 450 years. So this suggests that the priority. And the other thing, if you look into in terms of the number of the trains that have been covered, so in India we have the total number of trains are about 22 to 23,000 in number. So out of these many trains, only 65 trains have been covered with the Kavach or anti-collision devices. So in this sense, if you look at it, it's less than 0.2%. So either way, if you look at it, the entire the process of installing anti-collision devices appears to have got no focus. Number one. Number two, there are more things that are critical in this aspect. The most important and critical thing is the advanced signaling system. Let's understand what is advanced signaling system. So advanced signaling system is the automated signaling system in which you do not need human interventions while operating the trains. But what has been happening? What has been happening, if you look at the CAG reports, the frequency of derailments and total accidents indicates that the advanced signaling system is failing somewhere. So there are two things. So question one is whether we have advanced signaling system across all the stations. So government says yes. So according to government, out of 6,500 stations, most of these stations have got the advanced signaling system in broad gauge line. They say it is about 6,396, almost they have covered. And the said accident where it happened, they also claim that there was advanced signaling system in place. So if you have advanced signaling system and the frequency of incidents are so high, that does indicates toward the some major problem or lapse in the system. Either your signaling system is wrong, or there is some problem that the government has been or the railway has been unable to identify. If you get even one problem in signaling system.
Yeah, Mr. Pathak, my next question would be, what do you think are some of the remedial measures that now need to be taken? Now that we've had this terrible tragedy where hundreds of people have lost their lives, what needs to be done next?
See, in my opinion, we should not politicize this tragic incident, but when such thing happens, we do need to ask questions, right? If you don't ask questions, then you would never focus on such a thing. So if you ask me what needs to be done, I would say let us focus on the safety measures first. Let us have advanced signaling system. Wherever there is a problem, find out what is the issue and correct it immediately. There has been some reports suggesting that the railway minister had this issue reported to him, that there are some problem with the advanced signaling system. He ignored it. He shouldn't ignore. He should immediately, with the entire technical team, they should eradicate and correct the advanced signaling system, number one. Number two, find anti-collision devices. This is there in India, is there abroad, everywhere. It is not that expensive. Even if it is expensive, stop some of your projects, stop some of your subsidiary project and focus and invest a lot of money into this anti-collision devices. Other than that, there is one more device called anti-derailment device, which also should not be costing a lot. So we need to invest a lot of money in these safety measures. First of all, once they are done, then only the government should focus on efficiency and then cleanliness, then other parameters. I'll tell you one more interesting fact which would highlight the track upgradation is critical. The tracks have been ancient in our country. So out of 65,000 kilometers, if you look at it, only 37,000 kilometers of tracks have been upgraded. Around 50% remains unupgraded, ancient quality tracks. So the fast trains are running on it. The smaller trains, broad gauge, either you take or goods or passenger trains are running on it. Anytime major incidents may happen. So first of all, it is about the priority. It is all about the priority. Instead of PR, instead of dikhawa, we should simply focus, put our head down, take a pen and paper, sit down with the budget and just focus on the safety measures.
All right, must immediately focus more on safety measures and invest more in anti-collision devices. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News Center. News continues on CNBC-TV18. Stay tuned.